When you look in a mirror, you kind of just expect the truth. Like you assume that what you're seeing is this objective baseline.
Right, just a standard reflection.
Yeah, exactly. You might fix your hair or adjust your collar or whatever, but fundamentally it is just you. But imagine if millions of people are watching that exact same reflection right alongside you.
Oh, that completely changes the dynamic.
Completely. Because suddenly you aren't just checking your hair, you are actively curating an image. And welcome to the deep dive. I am so thrilled you're joining us today.
Really glad to be here to unpack this one.
Because we have a massive stack of sources today. I mean, we're talking European betting odds, internal broadcasting memos, local cultural complaints, all to explore the upcoming 2026 Eurovision Song Contest.
It is quite the paper trail.
It really is. And specifically, we are zooming in on Cyprus's entry. It's a song called Jalla, performed by Antigoni Buxton. We're going to unpack her really unique kind of multi-hyphenate background, the highly strategic musical anatomy of the track itself, and the intense mechanics behind her betting odds for Vienna.
Not to mention the music video drama.
Oh my gosh, yes. A rather ironic national controversy over a 100,000 euro music video. So, okay, let's unpack this because I'm just so excited about how this single 3-minute pop song serves as like a perfect lens into modern pop machinery and national identity.
It really is the perfect case study. I mean, the Eurovision stage is never just about the music. It operates as this microcosm of how a country desperately wishes to be perceived by the rest of the world.
Right.
It's a real-time negotiation of culture and, national branding.
Totally. And to actually understand the song we're diving into, we first have to kind of deconstruct the artist performing it. Antigoni Buxton brings what feels like, honestly, the ultimate contemporary resume to the table here.
She really does.
Yeah, so she was born in North London in 1996, and she's British Cypriot. So she grew up with a foot in both cultures, partly because her mother is Tonia Buxton.
Right. The very well-known Greek Cypriot television presenter and chef.
Exactly. But Antigoni isn't just, relying on family name recognition here. Her musical training is intense. Like, she attended the Brit School in London.
Which we really need to pause on for a second, because the Brit School is not your average, high school drama club.
Oh, no, not at all.
It is a highly rigorous, intensely respected training ground for vocalists in the UK music industry. I mean, this is the exact same incubator that produced artists like Adele and Amy Winehouse.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the industry takes alumni from this institution incredibly seriously because they're trained in the actual mechanics of vocal performance, stage presence, and just survival in the modern music business.
And she clearly leveraged that training, right? Because she eventually signed with Island Records in her early 20s, and her sound developed into this very specific mix of pop and R&B, heavily threaded with those Mediterranean influences. So she checks all the traditional music industry boxes. You've got the rigorous training, major label backing, demonstrable vocal chops. But then she throws a massive curveball.
A huge pivot, yeah.
She goes on reality television. Like, she significantly expanded her audience by joining the cast of the 8th season of the UK's Love Island in 2022.
It is a fascinating pivot. Taking that classical industry-approved path and suddenly injecting it with the hyper-visibility of reality dating television. Because in the past, traditional artists and repertoire executives, the A&R gatekeepers at the labels, they decided who got an audience. But today, artists can just bypass them entirely.
I have to stop you there, though, because relying on a reality TV star, I don't know, it feels like a massive artistic compromise for a country that's trying to win a prestigious international music competition.
I can see why you'd say that.
Right. Like, it almost feels like a cheap resume-building strategy specifically engineered for the social media age. Like, did the Cypriot broadcaster care more about her Instagram follower count than her actual vocal range?
That's the assumption a lot of people make.
It just feels like using a dating show to bypass the traditional gatekeepers completely undercuts her credibility as a serious artist.
Well, what's fascinating here is that you would naturally assume that, especially given the traditional snobbery surrounding reality television. But the data from the internal selection process actually proves otherwise.
Okay, how so?
The Cyprus Broadcasting Corporation, or CIBC, they didn't just hand her the microphone because she was on television. They put her through a really structured 2-part evaluation in late 2025.
So it wasn't just a popularity contest?
No, not at all. First, they assembled a 5-member professional jury panel to evaluate 9 different potential artists that were proposed by Greek record labels.
So they actually scrutinized the raw talent behind closed doors?
Precisely. They evaluated the live vocals and the potential stage presence. But here is where her Love Island background actually becomes a strategic asset rather than a liability.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, alongside that professional jury, the CIBC ran a public online questionnaire for about a week. They effectively beta tested public opinion on the artists before making any kind of commitment.
Wow. That's really smart.
Right. So by November, she was officially announced as the choice. Her rigorous Brit school training satisfied the professional jury's demand for competence, and then her massive reality TV audience satisfied the public metrics.
So she basically utilized every single tool available to a modern artist to secure that visibility.
Exactly.
Okay, so Antigoni successfully passes the local jury because she has this built-in audience and the technical skill to back it up. But now she faces a much bigger mechanical problem.
The song itself.
Yes. How do you take a British-trained pop singer and mathematically engineer a song that doesn't alienate the Cypriot locals who selected her while still appealing to millions of European viewers?
It's a huge challenge.
And that tension is exactly what dictated the anatomy of the song they released in February 2026, which is called Jalla.
Yeah, the construction of Jalla is honestly a masterclass in demographic targeting. Even just the title itself, it means more in the Cypriot dialect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and according to the sources, that specific dialect word wasn't an accident. It was proposed by co-writer Dimitris Nicolaou to deliberately anchor the song with local linguistic flavor.
And when we look at the writing credits for this, I mean, this was not Antigoni sitting alone in a studio with an acoustic guitar.
Definitely not.
The song was built by a massive 7-person team, with 4 of those writers also handling the production.
And that is the absolute hallmark of modern pop songwriting camps. It's an industrial process. They often use what is called the track and hook method.
Right.
You don't just have one person writing a song from start to finish anymore. You have a specialist building the bass line, a specialist writing the lyrical hooks, someone dedicated entirely to refining the vocal melody, and then someone else managing the electronic beat production.
It's just a highly segmented division of labor.
Precisely.
Which makes total sense when you're trying to build something that appeals to 2 completely different demographics at the exact same time.
Right.
I actually want to look at how they layered the instruments here because it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, let's get into it.
They used traditional Cypriot instrumentation, specifically the siftali and the lute. And for you listening who might not know, the siftali is this really sharp, resonant, high-pitched traditional string instrument. They took those acoustic, almost ancient textures, and they basically mashed them up with a huge, up-tempo, highly commercial summer pop beat.
Right.
It's like, okay, it's like building a high-speed bullet train on top of ancient Roman roads. The driving, 4-on-the-floor pop beat is the modern engine pushing the song forward for international dance clubs. But the acoustic resonance of the siftali and the lute acts as the foundational friction that keeps the track deeply rooted in Cypriot soil.
I love that. That architectural analogy perfectly captures the tension the production team had to navigate. I mean, they had to serve 2 masters simultaneously.
And doing that without the song sounding like just a chaotic mess is a real engineering feat.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Consider the local Cypriot audience for a second. They are the taxpayers funding the broadcaster.
Oh, right. Good point.
So they want their culture honored on screen. They want to hear their distinct dialect in the chorus, and they want that visceral, nostalgic reaction of hearing the lute. If the song is just a generic London club track, they're going to feel totally alienated and unrepresented.
But then you have the international televoter, like someone watching from a pub in Manchester or a living room in Oslo.
Exactly. And that viewer likely has no idea what a siftali even is. They aren't parsing the cultural significance of the dialect. They are reacting purely to energy, rhythm, and spectacle.
Just the vibes, basically.
Right. And the lyrics of Jalla focus heavily on passion, energy, and striving for more, which are themes that completely transcend language barriers. The international audience demands a massive dance track, and the modern beat delivers that.
And the early data suggests this hybrid approach really worked, at least on a regional level, because the track debuted at number 23 on the Greek local singles chart immediately after its release.
Oh, it's a great debut.
Yeah, that's a very solid indicator that the local audience accepted the fusion. But, you know, crafting a song for regional charts is one thing. Throwing it into the international meat grinder of the Eurovision Song Contest in Vienna is a whole other thing entirely.
Oh, for sure.
And this is where the history of Cyprus casts a massive, intimidating shadow over Antigoni's upcoming performance in May.
It really is an unavoidable legacy. Cyprus holds a very specific and honestly somewhat painful record in the contest. 41 participations and 0 wins.
41 times. That is decades of trying to crack the code.
Decades. And the closest they ever came, their absolute zenith in the contest, was in 2018 with Eleni Ferreira.
Oh, Fuego.
Yes, her performance of the song Fuego took second place. And Fuego just became a cultural phenomenon. It's essentially redefined what a Cypriot entry could be, setting this incredibly high, almost impossible expectation for every single up-tempo dance track the country has sent since.
Which perfectly brings us to the 2026 odds, because the numbers here are wild and they require some serious unpacking. So Antigoni is scheduled to perform 8th in semifinal 2 on May 14th.
Right.
She is sandwiched right between Switzerland and Austria. According to the bookmakers, she is sitting very comfortably in 5th place for her semifinal, which gives her an 80% chance of qualifying for the grand final.
Very safe.
But her overall odds to actually win the entire contest, 1%. She's ranked 12th place overall.
So what does this all mean? Is Jalla just fundamentally trapped by the legacy of Fuego?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the massive disparity between that 80% qualification chance and the 1% win chance tells us a lot more about the mechanics of Eurovision voting than it does about the ghost of Fuego. Okay, walk me through that, because on the surface, an 80% chance to qualify sounds like the odds makers love the song.
They do believe it is a competent, catchy, highly professional track. But you really have to understand how the voting mechanism functions here. To get out of a semifinal, you just need broad approval.
Right.
It's based on plurality voting. In Eurovision, countries award points from 1 to 12. A song can easily be everyone's 3rd, 4th, or 5th favorite track of the night. If you are consistently getting 5 or 6 points from a wide variety of countries, you accumulate enough total points to comfortably sail through to the final. It's safe.
Ah, so being broadly liked by the masses is enough for a Tuesday or Thursday night semifinal.
Exactly. But Saturday night, the grand final, that operates on a completely different psychological and mathematical level.
How so?
To win the entire contest, being broadly liked is actually a death sentence.
Wow.
You cannot be everyone's 3rd favorite. You need overwhelming consensus. You need to be the absolute, undeniable #1 favorite, the 12-point recipient, for a massive chunk of both the professional juries and the televoters across Europe and Australia.
So you need people to obsess over it.
You need intense passion. Jalla is clearly safe enough to qualify, but a 1% chance to win suggests the odds makers believe it lacks the disruptive, overwhelming emotional hook needed to secure those crucial top marks.
That is a brilliant distinction. Safe gets you to the finale, but disruptive gets you the trophy.
Exactly.
And yet, if we look at the actual fan reception, there is a lot of passion bubbling up. Like Eva France, who is a reviewer for the Finnish broadcaster Jalla, gave Jalla an 8 out of 10.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she specifically praised Antigoni's stage presence, noting she has the charisma to, and I quote, turn the toughest halloumi into dipping sauce.
That is incredible.
I love that imagery so much. And if you dive into the YouTube comments under her rehearsal clips, fans are surprisingly fervent. One commenter explicitly noted that while Eleni Ferreira is loved like religion in Greece and Cyprus, they actually prefer the sheer musicality of Jalla over Fuego.
Which proves the song is definitely resonating. I mean, the international Eurovision fandom is notoriously critical, so that level of direct endorsement is pretty significant.
It really is. But if we want to talk about fervent reactions, we actually need to leave the international fan boards and go back to Cyprus.
Ah, yes.
Because while the rest of Europe is debating odds and comparing her to 2018, the visual representation of Jalla sparked a massive, completely unexpected firestorm right at home. And here's where it gets really interesting.
This controversy perfectly illustrates the collision between modern pop aesthetics and the preservation of national image.
So the label backing Antigoni is Minos EMI, which is just an absolute powerhouse in the Greek and Cypriot music markets. And they fronted a €100,000 budget for the Jalla music video.
That is massive for a regional music video.
Oh yeah. When they drop that kind of money, they aren't making a home movie. They are producing a cinematic event. They shot it across multiple local locations, most notably in the village of Lithrodontis. And this wasn't like a closed Hollywood set. They invited the community. Between 200 and 250 local residents actually participated in this shoot.
Right, and a production of that scale, utilizing real village residents rather than just paid extras, is clearly intended to broadcast authenticity. They wanted to show the lived, breathing reality of the country.
Right. But just 2 days after the video dropped in early February, prominent local cultural figures filed a formal letter of complaint directly to the management committee of the Cyprus Broadcasting Corporation.
It happens so fast.
So fast. And they had two major issues. First, they argued the video failed to accurately depict Cypriot traditions and the cultural image of the island.
Okay.
And second, and this is much more specific, they were outraged that the video promoted illegal and dangerous driving. They pointed to scenes featuring local youths doing wheelies on motorcycles without wearing safety helmets.
Well, let's look at the mechanics of this dispute. You have the artist and the label trying to inject a youthful, contemporary, honestly somewhat gritty edge into the country's visual branding.
Yeah.
They're turning the camera on actual young people doing what young people actually do in those villages.
Which just blows my mind because the cultural figures are complaining that a video featuring hundreds of actual living Cypriot residents isn't authentically Cypriot enough.
Right.
It's like they are saying, please don't show the world the Cypriots. Show them the idealized, pristine postcard version we put in tourism brochures.
That is the exact crux of the tension. Cultural representatives often feel this deep protective responsibility to project a specific traditional image on a global broadcast.
Right, they want the shiny version.
Exactly. They are viewing the music video not as a piece of expressive art, but as an official state communication. And this put the CIBC Director General, Thanasis Sokos, in a very difficult diplomatic position.
I mean, how do you even mediate that? You have an expensive, really popular video on one side and furious cultural gatekeepers on the other.
Well, Sokos attempted to thread the needle. He released a statement defending the core of the project, pointing out the warm and positive reception that the video was already garnering from international fans and Eurovision experts online.
So he defended the artistic choice.
Essentially, yes. He validated the artist's strategy, noting that the target demographic was responding perfectly.
But I'm guessing he couldn't just ignore the local outrage.
No, he had to address the political reality of his position as a state broadcaster. So, he compromised.
What did you do?
He announced that the scenes depicting the unsafe driving the helmetless wheelies would be physically edited out of the video before it was officially re-uploaded to the European Broadcasting Union's channels.
Wait, really? So they literally scrubbed the grit out of the video.
They did.
The artist holds up a mirror to the youth culture, showing these kids on their bikes, and the broadcaster steps in to apply a nice, safe filter before showing it to the neighbors.
It is identity curation happening in real time. I mean, the artist wants to capture the raw, kinetic energy of contemporary youth, but the broadcaster has to ensure the final product aligns with much more conservative national broadcasting standards.
That is just wild to me, and it really brings everything full circle. Let's kind of recap this journey.
Yeah, let's do it.
We started with Antigoni Buxton, this multi-hyphenate artist who leveraged her intensive Brit school training and her highly visible Love Island fame to survive a rigorous internal selection process. Then we looked at how her massive team mathematically engineered the song Jalla, using the track and hook method to build a bridge between local Cypriot tradition and international club pop.
Right.
We explored the mechanics of the betting odds, revealing how a song can be safe enough to easily qualify via plurality voting, yet perhaps not disruptive enough to escape the long shadow of Frago and actually win a consensus.
Exactly.
And finally, we saw how a €100,000 music video collided with local gatekeepers, resulting in literal censorship to protect a traditional national image.
It is an incredible amount of pressure to place on 3 minutes of television.
It really is. And for you listening, this is exactly why diving into these sources is so rewarding. The Eurovision Song Contest is never just a pop concert.
Never.
It is a high-stakes, highly visible arena where nations are actively negotiating their own identities. Every single vocal run, every traditional instrument, and every frame of a music video is part of this delicate balancing act between local heritage, modern youth culture, and, honestly, a desperate desire for international validation.
And the mechanics of that balancing act raise an important question to walk away with.
Oh, absolutely. What are you thinking?
If a song meant to represent a nation has its visual identity actively censored by its own cultural gatekeepers, specifically to present a safer, sanitized version of youth culture to the world, you have to wonder,
Wonder what?
are international audiences actually seeing the real country when they tune in? Or are they just watching a heavily edited, state-approved tourism advertisement set to a really catchy beat?
Wow. A heavily curated reflection in a very shiny mirror. We will leave you to mull that one over.